Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the JoyPad podcast. Tom is very happy tonight, giving everyone a thumbs up. Thank you, Tom. We've had a great conversation already tonight, but now we're jumping into the podcast here. I am one of your hosts, Mr. Michael Fleming. We also have Tom. And Megan is here as well tonight.
That's coming through on the video, right, Tom? You're getting like 15 thumbs up over your face.
I'm very distracted by the amount of thumbs I'm getting, so thank you. Skype is going crazy tonight. And if you watching just with your ears tonight, you could go over to our YouTube channel and check out the thumbs later. Anyway, I am here with, like I said, Tom, Megan, and Mr. Michael Pinto. I am your host tonight and your lead topic boy, Mr. Michael Fleming. Let's turn it over right away because, like I said, we've had a good conversation already going before our podcast. So, Tom, how you doing? How's your thumb feeling? And what else are you doing? What are you playing? What are you drinking? And how's your cat doing? Oh, your cat's getting confused too.
Audio listeners love you to death. Been just giving thumbs up for a solid minute and a half. My cat's doing good. I'm doing pretty well. Have been getting into more of being the sleepy man as I am when I have to actually work. I've been off work for almost 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks before the end of last week. It was wonderful, and now I have to come back and do stuff, and I'm not all about that life. Well, I guess I am all about that life because that's called being a 32-year-old adult with a mortgage. I've been playing a number of games, drinking my Bang energy drink, but I actually got back into some of the classics. So been playing some Madden, started a new Madden game.
Ooh. It's playoffs.
Pulled off some stupid trades, like things that just shouldn't happen. Like, the Browns should not be giving me the 99 overall Myles Garrett for a couple picks. Should not be able to trade for DK Metcalf by swapping, like, Allen Robinson and Akeem Hicks with the Seahawks when DK Metcalf is a 95 overall X-Factor superstar. Shouldn't be able to sign Colin Kaepernick to my team just to trade him immediately to the Detroit Lions for three picks, one of which is a first-round pick, top 5. But things you can do in Madden that are fun. I also have been playing some Rocket League again. I have been having fun with it because I'm not taking it seriously. And I don't think I have the capacity to take it seriously anymore or possibly ever again. I just started doing casual mode. And of the people playing casual mode, I'm in the very good tier. So I can have fun because I'm not surrounded by people who are yelling "get good scrub" at me or like losing their shit because we lost a match in ranked, which is great. I love that. And I'm honestly, when I'm playing it, I'm playing like 1 or 2 matches and I'm stopping, which is really good. It's a nice little like break away from work or something. I can just kind of like slide over, play around in Rocket League and like get back to my stuff. I have also been playing Fire Emblem, which is fantastic. My wife has been playing Shin Megami Tensei 5, which has been interesting to watch. But I haven't gotten to that just yet. And I want to say that's about it for me. But yeah, I have been having fun with the Rocket. My issue with Rocket League is I don't think we'll ever get to play it as a competitive team again. We'll never get to wear the black suits because it was so annoying to play the people we would have to play in that. I loved playing it as a team. It's just it was rough.
Any competitive game can be like that, though. Like I can't imagine playing Counter-Strike again. Any team competitive game, especially where you have to work with other people. I couldn't deal with a 17 or 16-year-old screaming at me that I suck or whatever. It's just not what I want to do anymore. So maybe I could play a little bit of StarCraft, but I'm also slower. So it gets hard.
I was just going to blame all of our competitive gaming woes on you, Fleming, because you're super competitive and would always get really, really good. And I'd be like, I'm just here to have fun, and I suck compared to you.
No, I would say, for Rocket League, though, I would say that Tom was just as good as me, if not better at a lot of cases.
You were better at goalie. You were definitely better at goalie than me.
Yes, I would agree with that. But
Fleming and I were pretty solidly in like the gold or platinum leagues of Rocket League, and we played pretty complimentary ball. We were pretty good on the same team. It's just the people that we would have to go up against were annoying as shit.
Samson!
It just got too hard. I don't like when a game can't balance very well, and for some reason the way it balanced was not the best. But the one thing I remember about Rocket League for us is the fact that we called our clan the Sir Clan because we were wearing suits, and it was awesome. Somebody said to us, "Is your clan tag mean stuck in reverse or something like that?" Or I forget. It was something like that. And I'm like, no, it's just Sir.
We're fancy.
The best experience of our Rocket League careers, brief as they were the ways that we used to just switch our names constantly. My favorite was when we were all grandpas, because we played against a team of people that had grandpa names. And we just loved it. So Pinto became Peepums. I was Grandpa Stinker Magoozax or something like that. Fleming, I forget what your guy was.
Oh, I'm gonna have to check Steam potentially to figure it out. I don't remember.
But yeah, that was the fun of Rocket League. So I don't know. Anyway, I've gone way down memory lane, as is my wont during Tom's ramble moment. But I'll pass it off to Pinto, because I normally pass it off to Megan when these are the cases, so I'm going to switch it up. So what are you drinking? How are your cats doing? How are you doing? And what games have you been playing?
I am drinking just some good old water. I was drinking coffee because I'm a sleepy person, and I want to have a reasonable amount of energy tonight, I guess. I don't know. I'm also really cold, so I wanted a hot beverage to warm me up from the inside out. My cats are also cold, so that's why they're downstairs sleeping in front of the heater. I don't blame them. And I've been playing the same things I was playing last week, really, which were Skyrim and XCOM. So those are what I've been diving into. And
how far?
Go ahead.
How far on the main quest line of Skyrim have you gotten?
I just killed the first dragon. So
great job.
I killed the first dragon. Now I have to climb High Hrothgar, and I'm avoiding doing that because I hate that. I hate having to climb that damn mountain. I know it's supposed to be like this rite of passage, cool moment, but I'm just impatient. I'm like, I gotta climb that damn mountain.
Hire a Sherpa.
Are you playing on the Switch or
PC?
What are you playing? PC? Okay. I wasn't sure. I was just curious if you were taking advantage of the portability or something.
No, I'm playing on the PC. I'm playing XCOM on my phone. I'm taking advantage of the portability with that.
There you
go. I'm pretty sure I said these exact words last week, but man, I love XCOM. It's just such a great game. I love it.
And it's Enemy Within?
Yes, Enemy Within. I'm thinking this might be the catalyst. Like, once I finish this, I'll switch to XCOM 2, and then finally maybe play Chimera Squad. Like, for real. Because I've started Chimera Squad, like, twice and been like, I'll come back to this. And then just...
I'll get there one day.
Yeah, just never done it. But, Megan and I kind of made a promise to just play more games this year in general. Mm-hmm. Or at least I promised it to you, Megan. I don't know if you made the same promise.
I did.
Okay.
In spirit. But I'm making it official now.
Okay.
I'm going to play more games that I bought and just sit on my shelf.
Good. I'm going to play...
down on the podcast.
Well, and here's the other thing. In lieu of that, I did buy more games, but they're games I want to play with y'all. So I bought Stick Fight the Game, which we can play with up to 4 players. It's $5 right now. Yeah. I believe we should play that. And Megan and I also both bought I'm on Observation Duty, which I would love to play with you guys as well. That
I
one,
have seen footage of that one.
yeah, that one you guys don't even have to buy if you don't want to, because
Mhm.
we both own it. We could just stream it to you, and it's an experience best had with friends, anyways.
Definitely.
Shoe. There's a shoe.
Chair gone. Big rug. You just
Naked man. There's a naked man. Right
Yep,
there.
you just devolved to 2-word statements. And then you just talk for like 5 minutes. And it's like, painting change. So, I think that'll be fun. I'd like to actually record that, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's been about it for me. So, I'll pass it off to you, Megan. What are you
Whoa.
drinking? How are your cats? I know you said one of them's in front of you and you can smell her breath. I'm guessing that's Remy.
That is Remy.
And
You know them so well.
how goes your Skyrim adventure?
I'm doing okay this evening. I'm enjoying some leaf water as always. My cats are wonderful, and my tiny dog is even better. She had a surgery. It'll be a week tomorrow. And she's on the mend. She's doing well. She's extra tiny and cute. I see Tom's mouth moving, but there are no words.
Did she go cliff jumping again?
No, no. This was she was spayed. So, but then while she was under, the vet is like, "Oh, she has some puppy teeth that are not coming out. So let me remove those for you."
Why is this a thing with your pets? Just
With my
wanton
pets?
teeth removal.
I don't know, why are they strange, and why do they all have big ears and teeth? That, I mean, of course they have teeth, but teeth that have issues.
Megan, we need to talk about your practice of amateur animal dentistry.
Fine, all right. Anyway, I won't tell you what I did with Alfie's baby teeth.
No.
So, in other news, as far as Fleming has a face.
I don't want to know what you do with the teeth, but I kind of do. Did you save them? That's what I guess I'm asking.
He wants to know what you do with the teeth.
Not the teeth that the vet removed, but the teeth that came out through, like, like they're teething and they chew on stuff. And sometimes you're like cleaning the living room and you happen upon a nice, like, sharp, shiny canine in the carpet. So you pick it up and you put it in a keepsake box.
Oh,
You need to build a barbarian necklace from
That's what
tiny dog teeth.
I keep telling that to Christy, that they'll either be in a necklace or like a mini shadow box, or I'll glue them to a canvas. She was part of the madness. I think we found 8 in total.
Wow.
It was a part-time hobby for a little while. Judge me as you will.
That's at least half a necklace.
It is. And we can, Alfie's so tiny, it would be like a regular size necklace for the dog. So you just, put it on her collar and she'll look even more badass. Enough about me and my weird pet hobbies. As far as what I'm playing, as I don't know if this was when we were recording, but I took the step. I opened up my Xbox Series X. It's all set up. Sorry, Tom, you'll not be getting my Xbox. So I have that all set up, and I decided to play Halo Infinite. So in stories of get good, scrub, I was playing multiplayer, and typically if I do like any kind of first-person shooter multiplayer, I play like solo, because I'm not good enough to be on a team of people that I don't know. So I've done some free-for-all solo. I'm not terrible, but I'm by no means good at the game. I don't have enough time to devote to it. I don't care to have enough time to devote to it. But I decided to do like a random team match, and they were very serious about it, and I was not. And the one gentleman was just a giant dick. So what I did was throw myself in front of the enemies and get shot every time, just to make him angry.
If you could have, I would have highly recommended just throwing a grenade right at him.
I thought about it, but I thought that might push it too far, and I think it was like I had 2 kills and 15 deaths, so he was pissed. I gotta. What the fuck were you doing? And I don't have a microphone, so I just listen to people carry on and yell.
I think Tales of Get Good Scrub needs to be a segment on the podcast. B, well done. Don't suffer the bullshit. Always fuck them up. Did I forget if I talked about playing VR ping pong?
Yeah.
And some guy just yelled like, "Oh, you fucking suck," at me. And my response was I turned the microphone mute off and I just said, "Suck my balls, bitch," and then quit. So I think that's always the appropriate response.
Definitely. Whatever I can do to make their experience worse and just make it fun for myself, I'll do it. But yeah, usually something like that, I'll just play solo unless I'm playing with a group of friends, and then I'll play in a team. But yeah, that's the newest thing that I've been playing. Skyrim, I haven't touched it since I started it the other night. That's only because the past week I've been on after work duties involving work. So I really haven't felt much like playing it. So I'll get back to it, I think, this weekend because I'll be free. And then Monday I have off. So I'll catch up with Mr. Pinto. But yeah, that's about it for me. Mr. Fleming, how are you? What are you drinking? How are your kitties, indoor and outdoor? And what are we talking about tonight?
Good. I wanted to, before I jump into all that, though, I just wanted to quickly say I went looking for the games that Pinto said that we should play together because I was going to get them into my Steam cart. And there's a game that showed up and it's not out yet. And you know how they usually have planned release date like Q1 2021 or something like that, or 2022 now. This one says time is subjective.
I love it.
Okay.
Does that mean it's already been released and we just don't know about it?
I mean, there's a lot of pictures and like there's a video of a guy that was playing it and stuff that was going on in the background for me for a second, but it's not out yet. You can just add it to wish list. So I don't know. Anyway, I probably am on this because I did have a Yingling lager right here, and I've already drank that whole thing. So that's what I get for starting it at the start of our call, and now it's an hour later. I also have water, fortunately, so hydration was important, especially for my coughing fit I just had like 3 or 4 minutes ago.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm good now. I'm good now. The voice is fine. Just needed some water for my wonderful bottle that says the Crimpet Kid. So I didn't actually put it into the camera, but anyway, I have not played too much. I've played a little bit of Battlefield 1 because it's a super chill game, and it's a game that like I can pop over and like watch YouTube videos while I'm playing it and stuff because it's not that big of a deal. The game's kind of whatever. It's just more deathmatch kind of game. So it's been fun. I've been playing as all the different classes and stuff.
Have you been told to get good, Scrub?
No, the best.
No, I am good.
Sucks for you.
I'm not that good. The game is, it's kind of, like I said, it's kind of deathmatch. So like people just run and do all kinds of crazy stuff. You're not really like playing safe. I did have a really cool situation where I've been playing as assault, which gets shotguns. So I've been using a lot of pump shotties, which is fun because you have to get close up to people. Obviously, you can't shoot them from far away with that thing. And I was sitting behind, we were trying to storm a trench in front of us, and it wasn't going well because, you know, World War I trench assaults weren't very good. And I'm sitting behind a burned out tank, and the enemy team starts pushing because they wanted to take like the trench that we had already secured. It was one of those like secure multiple levels to, you know, win the whole thing basically. So they start pushing back because like a lot of my teammates had all died in the middle of the killing field, and I'm sitting behind a burnout tank, and these guys just like come storming up, and I had 5 bullets in the shotgun, and it's just like if you're within 5 feet of each other and you shoot, you kill them. It's one hit kill. So they're just like charging up. I'm laying on the ground. I just keep going like to the left and right, just shooting them as they come up at me. So that was kind of cool. That happened the other day. I was like, that was really fun. That was awesome. But no, I haven't played too much beyond that. I think I played a little bit of EU4 as well since the last time we talked. Again, that's another chill game for me to do other stuff. I've been quite busy, unfortunately, with life stuff and very tired. Like you mentioned, Tom. To get to that point, I'm very my job has been very busy. It's been quite tiring, and it's been just I've shared with everybody else, but for the podcast's sake, it's just been really tiring. Um, anyway, so outside of that, for the topic tonight, I, as part of this whole job thing and the fact that we're in our 30s and kind of, I'm going to say at least to some degree set in what we're doing, for at least the immediate future. Um, One thing that I noticed is that when I was a little kid, I wanted to be like to do something with games, right? And I wanted to be very much involved in the gaming world, and I did all kinds of things from writing to team competitive play to making fun like little games and stuff like that with friends and other people that I knew, developing some kind of games like that, using things like RPG Maker as a kid and all different kinds of stuff, just fun things to do. And what I want to make the topic tonight is, looking back on that, I'm sure there's, if anyone younger is listening, might still have that kind of in their mind. And I'm wondering what you guys, if you guys ever thought you might have a gaming career, what that might have looked like for you. What did you hope it looked like for you? And if you could choose to kind of either take your skills you have now or, just invent skills that you wish you had, what would you love to do kind of in the gaming community? And how would you love to be involved in that to be your career? Because unfortunately for us, none of us work in that. So I'm just kind of curious what you guys, maybe if you ever had wanted that in your life or not.
Well, if you're younger and you're listening to this podcast and you still have dreams of being in the gaming industry, give up your dreams. They're going to die. Accept mortality.
Wow.
What? Thanks for listening to the
Coming
JoyPad
out
podcast.
swinging. Jesus Christ. Don't have a dream, kids.
Ow.
I said all that because I knew it would get that kind of reaction.
Even your cat's walking away.
Yeah, he just wants to show you his butthole.
Jack.
Anyway, yes, I growing up just like you, Fleming, I really wanted to be in gaming. We haven't talked about it a whole lot, but when I was younger, I did a lot of coding. I took a lot of computer science classes, and actually, when I first went to college, it was for software engineering, and my idea with that was to get into the gaming industry. And then I went through some things, and I decided to change things around, and I got an English degree, which was a lot easier to get than a degree in coding, except for the whole student teaching thing. That sucked. But really, my idea, my ambition with all that, I think, was to like make my own game. And even as a little kid, I used to talk about and like come up with stories with my friends. So my friends Mark and Nate, who I think you guys know, Nate went to college with Fleming, Pinto, and me. And Mark, you guys have met just because he used to come visit at college and would hang out and stuff like that. But we, as kids, had this game that I still remember the name of, which we called it Guardians of the Elements, or GOAT for short. And it was basically like a self-insert half Dragon Ball Z, half Final Fantasy idea of like a video game. And we used to just mess around and like draw characters and, say like, oh, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. And this is the bad guy. And this is like what they have to do and stuff like that. And it was how we would entertain ourselves at daycare. And then once we were not at daycare anymore, it like kept going until we were probably in like 6th or 7th grade. But that's really where that started. And my ambition was to try and bring something like that to life. Not really that thing, but that's just where it began. And then I think around the time that I got into college, I kind of had the revelation unto myself that if I got a degree in computer science or software engineering, probably what I was going to end up doing was not writing stories for video games. It would be like coding an inventory system or something like that, which was a big deflation for me. Do I think I could do something like that? Sure, absolutely. Do I think I would have a lot of interest in doing something like that? Not particularly. I think really the way the video game industry works, it would be fun to get your foot in the door doing something like that, because my understanding is that's how you really kind of make it up to the ideas level, which is what I would really like to do. I think I would have a lot of fun writing a story, coming up with concepts, designing art or graphics. You guys know I can kind of mess around with Photoshop pretty well. I can't draw freehand or anything, but I have a lot of ideas in art. So I would be the kind of person that can't really like draw it myself, but I could give ideas to like the guys that could draw and get things in the right direction. I think that would be like a blast to do. But yeah, I think those are like the two areas I would want to skew, would be like art and story kind of stuff. So yeah, that's the Tom Ramble segment part 2.
No, I mean, you brought up a lot of, I think everybody loves the idea of creating the story, even if they are more into like you did software development because you hoped it got you into the gaming industry, the gaming world, and that's obviously very, very important, especially as a a young kind of indie developer. You're going to have to, and like you want to make a portfolio for yourself, you're going to have to be able to prove that you can like provide value, and ideas can either provide a lot of value or they can provide no value, right?
Yeah.
Because if you come up with Warcraft, for example, or StarCraft, you've made a multi-billion-dollar game right there, and and that provides a lot of value. But if you come up with random fantasy world X, it's not as interesting. It's not going to be worth anything, and you might spend a lot of money on something that's not valuable. So I think I was in the same boat with you. Like, I really didn't want to stick around and code an inventory system. I liked the idea, like you said, of coming up with ideas and building new things and building a world. And maybe that involves the coding. And I might prioritize that because I'd be probably best at that, because I can't draw for anything either. But I think that the idea of coming up with a world is also really cool.
And I think like, just, to go back to the old adage, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. So it's almost like ideas, for a video game. Like, everyone kind of has an idea. It doesn't necessarily make it a great idea. And like you said, even about like Warcraft or StarCraft, it's cool to have that idea, but without all of the flawlessly integrated like mechanics and trade-offs and all the stuff that you have in the back, that game does not work. You need to have counters and different efficiencies that are extremely well balanced to make that game even remotely playable, or highly effective the way that it is. So there's nothing to downplay those guys or the people that make inventory systems and stuff like that. I mean, it's, like you said, extremely valuable. And I mean, I think the best example is Stardew Valley, where everything is done by Concerned Ape. That's amazing. Like, that's kind of like my own personal dream is to do all that kind of stuff. I will never get there, but just having that layer of being able to code UIs and movement systems and interaction systems and stuff like that is super cool. It's just, it all has to come together, right?
I think I'm in the same line as you, Tom. If I were to be in the industry, which it was always like kind of a dream of mine, I just didn't know how to go about it. Like, I'm not a super strong math person. So as far as like, computer engineering, software development, that didn't necessarily seem attainable, when I was 17, 18 years old, getting ready to go to college. But I love to write. I love to create things. I'm in my head a lot, always coming up with different ideas and different things that I want to do. So I think it would be fun to come up with stories, come up with characters, your motivations, your enemies, things like that. That's always been something that I'm super interested in, especially over the years where you see, games headed. You have like The Last of Us, your Uncharted series, where it's more story driven rather than what you're actually doing in the game. Your life is strange. That kind of stuff I find super interesting. And I love where it's headed.
Well, I will.
I mean, you're right, Megan. There's a lot more like script focus that's kind of emerging in the gaming world, maybe even more than we used to have when we were kids.
Yeah.
So, I still think like it's just hard to break into that.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Like that's the strangest thing, because they will frequently look for people who are at studios to do that sort of work, and people who are at the studios have the technical background.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, stop, give me a chance. I know how to write things.
Yeah. Well, you always see that. You always hear that. Even like Druckmann started from the bottom, and now look at where he is. But yeah, like when we were kids, games were very not that they weren't focused on the story, but it was a different, I don't know, a different angle. And then with voice capture and motion capture and improved graphics and just technology in general, it's a 10+ hour movie sometimes that you're playing.
Which means just super big Hollywood script.
I'm sorry, Pinto, you were saying something before?
Oh, I was just gonna continue to beat the dead horse, because I think, for the most part, we're all more on the creative side of things here. So again, like, I went to college for professional writing and creative writing. It's sure gotten me far, but I think I also was very interested in the creative side of making games because I enjoy writing stories and things like that. So I think that's part of why I enjoy tabletop gaming so much. I wrote most of a campaign for a now defunct project that maybe one day we'll go back and finish. I've been spitballing that, but I just, again, I like Megan and like you, Tom. I don't know.
I like you too.
Well, yeah, I love you guys. I don't know the technical aspect of things, really. So for me, I'd have to be like, oh, I came up with this great idea. And I would probably never say it like that. I would be like, is this something? Is this a thing?
Can we do this?
Can we do this? Yeah, I would never be like, bruh, I wrote the next smash hit video game, but I don't know dick about programming, so you have to do all the work, and I'll just tell you how it's supposed to go. And that doesn't feel cool, really, to be like, here's my idea, you implement it. You know what I mean? But
it sounded as cool as that voice.
Yeah.
You have to make your video, Koji.
That's the cool guy voice.
Yeah.
But, and then the other side of it, too, is like, I would love to write video game music. Part of it is that I am a musician. I used to be like, I'm an aspiring musician, but fuck it, I'm a musician, even if I'm not that, like, prolific. But I don't write lyrics, so it's, for the most part, video game music is instrumental, so I'm like, yeah, that's my jam. That's what I want to do. That's what I would really like to do. Just kind of create that sort of sonic soundscape. I think that would be really fun as well. It's something that I, hopefully will get to do at some point in my life, even if it's just like some like little indie game that I know someone, I'm like, hey, here's a song that maybe you could use. And if they used it, I would probably like pee out of excitement.
My dog does that.
Pinto, I've always thought though that you could write like 8-bit music, and those kind of things. I thought that was something that you would always be good at. It's just one of the challenges I think with gaming. It's gotten a lot better, but one of the challenges from like when we were starting to come of age, like that 2000 to 2007, is that games were still very and the gaming industry was still very difficult to get into because you couldn't do a lot of your own individual projects. A lot of the people that did like quote indie games were often mods of other games. They weren't their own self-standing games. And a lot of the smaller gaming companies that I can think of were often not American companies. I know a lot of them were actually based out of like other places in Europe, for example, that were cheaper, because a lot of the people that I knew, and not trying to toot my own horn, I probably was the closest to professional of our group in
Yeah.
terms of games. I actually made, you know, several $1,000s doing it. It kept me going through college for at least part of it, and a little bit of high school too. It's a lot of people that I know that were in it were still not making that much money, in reality. And it's taken till the past decade and the second half of the 2000s decade, I'd say, to really start picking up and being able to be something that would be sustainable for, for a regular creator, a regular developer. Even if you weren't in one of those like top level companies, you weren't making like you wouldn't be able to live. Now it's still hard, but from my understanding, a lot of them, are often doing it as like a side project thing. But it was very hard back in the early 2000s to actually develop and sustain, creating a game and getting it published and everything. With things like Steam now and early access and stuff like that, it's a little bit easier to get yourself that portfolio that Tom and I kind of talked about at the beginning, to get in front of a bigger developer who might sponsor you to keep going, or might buy your game outright, or give you a salary so they own the rights to the game, but you're still creating your project. That's really a pretty new concept in reality.
Yeah, and my understanding is even to like get hired at the bigger studios, a lot of the path in is to kind of work on mods on the side. So like a lot of the people get hired at like, I don't know, used to be like Bungie or Obsidian or something, would be people who've worked on like Skyrim mods, and then that becomes part of their portfolio that they show off to get in there. So there's even like an access store to get into some of those careers.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of wild. But Pinto, with you with the music thing, interestingly, when I was still taking guitar lessons and playing and writing music more often than I do now, which is almost never, my guitar teacher used to say, like, you should like try to talk to like students that are working like student games and stuff like that, and they'll like use stuff like that, and you could get portfolio experience that way. And I think that might be more of the way that kind of escalates, because a lot of those are the kind of people that you like get your foot in the door with, and then they're going to use it in their portfolio, and then it keeps moving up the chain and all that kind of crap. And tell me if I'm wrong, but I think the one thing I kind of hear in this entire conversation is that there's just a whole lot of red tape with everything. And it's so businessy for all of the creative kind of way that we want to approach working on a creative project, really. And I think a lot of us have kind of expressed creative ambitions in the sphere of creating a game if we were to work on a game or in the game industry. And I think that's really tough, honestly. I think for people with aspirations like us, or with people who actually are actively pursuing careers at gaming studios, I think that's just one of the hardest things about being like a creative person in 2022 or whatever modern era of the future we're looking at, is it has this foot in the door mentality where you can't just give someone a resume. You have to have an explosive portfolio, and you have to make sure that someone actually looks at that portfolio.
Well, it's giving confirmation that your time or their money is worth, the time that you'll provide them, right? And that's I think that's every business. I mean, if you just want basic career experience, you need to show actionable results that you've done, so that people will trust that you will be able to do the results that they're looking for in that new job. So like if you're thinking about doing wanting to be in the gaming industry, whatever that might be, you need to start trying to show it. So you need to start writing your own stories. Honestly, you probably have to go to some degree like Concerned Ape did, or like even the raft team is, I think, a team of 4 that did it for a senior project in college or something like that. You need to put out something on your own and be willing to go all in and invest in yourself to learn all the various aspects of it. The story is great, but it's not the whole thing. So you need to have that developer friend, or that you need to learn how to code and develop a game yourself. Or you need to, didn't Concerned Ape not even know how to write music and went ahead and learned how to write music to some extent, so that he could actually put that into the game? Pretty sure that's actually a true story.
Probably.
It's crazy just how much investment you need to do, but you need to be passionate about it. You need to pursue that yourself if that's what you want. I think any of us could have been in the gaming industry if we had wanted to, but I think none of us kind of had that push out the door, if you will, to ever go that direction.
I think to some point it's become easier too with the pandemic, because back beforehand everything was more localized and you had to be near studio, and a lot of the studios were at California or Seattle. I think there's some in Austin, but and maybe some more indie studios in New York, but there wasn't much in New York. So, all of us at that time being in, North, Central, South Pennsylvania,
rural Pennsylvania.
It's not exactly as cohesive, and not having a portfolio to speak of. The easiest way to really develop a portfolio when you're in those years where you're starting out on your own, you need to make money and all that, is to either get an internship while you're in college for your senior year, or to be in an area where you can go actively work on that stuff and shop it. But we didn't have either of those opportunities either. So my hope is that it's easier for the next kind of generation that's coming up through that. And I think it will be, but I think also the lesson is you do have to go out on your own as much as you can to just work on things on your own. And Pinto, I think the easiest example to point to is probably you with the music, because you've made plenty of music on your own that you could present to someone. And that's a real.
I was gonna say start publishing soundtracks that don't even have a music. That don't even have a game behind it, but just be like, I wanted to create a soundtrack that sounds like, a battle soundtrack or something. You could create that right now, post it, and see. You might even get someone that reaches out and goes, hey, I'm making an indie game and I need something like this. Can I use it? Or post it like Creative Commons or something, and just give it to them, and that gives you an opportunity to get your name out there if that was something you wanted to do. And then also, you said you wanted to write more music this year, so
yeah. And also, like, what a lot of my younger coworkers have told me, because I'm an old man now. I'm the old man at work. A lot of them have told me, and this is something I don't really want to do, but it's a good idea, is get on TikTok and like post the shit there. And it's not even like get on TikTok and become like an influencer or a TikToker. It's another avenue to put your material out there, and it's popular. So.
Well, if you think of like the guy that did all the mashups and stuff, which I know you were sharing for a long
DJ
time.
Cumberbund?
Yes, DJ Cumberbund.
Thank you.
Or the guy that does the who's the guy that did like the keyboards and he would just improvise a song over?
Mark Rebier?
Yes. So you would also share those. And I think both those guys probably have their feet in the TikTok platform.
Mark Rebier is probably like a millionaire now. He's sponsored by like Liquid Death Water and all this stuff. It's insane. And all he does is like stream improvised music for like 4 hours in his boxer briefs and a bathrobe.
That could be you.
I know I made that sound trivial. I bet that's hard as shit. Like a 4.5 constant improvised music stream. Like, holy crap. But
yeah,
I kind of want to come at this from a different direction too a little bit. And I think I may have mentioned this a long time ago on an early episode of the podcast. Like, we're all coming at this from the creative side, and we're talking about like, the coding's important and all that. I always kind of feel bad for like maybe like a graphical designer, and especially as games get more and more graphically impressive. People don't pay attention to it as much anymore. Like, and so you're going from point A to point B, And unless you play like Megan, who I'm not even calling you out, like Megan, you explore everything. But like
Oh
that
no, I
gives,
do.
but that gives you a chance to appreciate like the graphical design in games. So like I know Final
I
Fantasy
was talking about
13.
clouds.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 13 is like it got a lot of flack because everyone's like, "Oh, it's hallway simulator, blah blah blah." If you go back and watch the beginning of Final Fantasy 13, there is so much happening like in the background of the opening dungeon and just so much going on that like people probably poured hours and hours of work into this and people are like, "Oh, this game's boring. You just go from point A to point B." It's like you need to stop and appreciate the things that are going on in the game.
Look
That
at eyeballs. Look
Yeah.
at hair.
The art design and direction of 13 is really impressive. And I would say the Final Fantasy games in general, just like always referencing the Final Fantasy games I am, but I mentioned it earlier. I think it would be really interesting to work in art direction or to have more of a focus on that art. And I agree with you, Pinto, that it's probably less appreciated now than it has been. But I think art is really one of the most defining things of a game, and I think it's what gives it its flavor and its charm just as much as the story. Like we talked about Stardew Valley also. I think like Stardew Valley is nothing without the way that the art is designed and presented. Ultimate Chicken Horse, so much of that game, the mechanics are like, I want to say 80%, but I want to even say that the art is even more than just 20% too, because the old dancing animations, the way that the animals laugh and flip their snake skateboards and stuff like that, it's charming, it's adorable. There's a lot that art does in that world, and I would love to be able to do that. I actually think about it sometimes, and I think if I had a second career, I would really like to do something probably with like 3D modeling, which I think is a very complicated skill set, more so than people realize. But I think it offers a different perspective of working with an art medium, because I can't freehand draw so well. But I think if I had the opportunity to sculpt and paint in software, I could figure it out. I would need training, probably a good amount of training, but I think I could do that, and that I could design some of the things I would want to design.
I read a 3D modeling book in 2006, 2007, somewhere around there. And now granted, it's gotten probably a little bit, I won't say easier, but more streamlined than the stuff I was reading about 3D modeling and 3D programming. And I was like so confused. And I was like, yep, probably never going to do this, because I was just blown away by the complexity of all that. But I agree with you. It's art, but I think it's probably more like the art that you would understand, like, and I would understand, where I can't, if someone says draw like a person or something, I can't. But if someone says draw or model a shoulder and like every little like curvature of that, and I get to like really nitty gritty detail, and I have a computer that's supporting and assisting me, I think I could probably do that a lot better too than freehand, that the whole like pre-rendered art and stuff like that you see coming out from games. I can't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot that goes into it too. I mean, really, they split teams up based on what people are good at. So I mean, it could be that you end up being the guy that models Cloud's hair in Final Fantasy VII, and you know what Cloud's hair is supposed to look like because you have a guy that draws it, and then you have an idea of where to take that artistic direction. Or I mean, it could be buildings, right? Like we were talking about the environment in Final Fantasy 13, and I would talk about 7 and whatnot as well. The environments in those games really make them stand out. Last of Us really stands out with the way that some of those buildings are designed as well. And I think just coming up with those designs is awesome.
I thought of one more thing I'd love to do, which fortunately is not directly in the gaming industry, because typically, especially recently, I feel like they're pulling all kinds of names, popular names out there. And I don't think my voice is necessarily ready for it, but I'd love to be a voice character on a game.
Voice acting.
Oh, I'd love to do that too.
Yeah.
Just one time, I
Hey,
just
man.
would love to be able to like.
That's
be
why
like,
you play
"That's me."
tabletop RPGs. I'm serious. Like, it gives you an excuse.
Yep.
Listen, go listen to Tom's wonderful, weird Austrian accent.
Oh God,
Puns and
intended to
prawns.
be Austrian/Eastern European. Went off the rails a little bit, but
Listen,
Well, I mean,
my
I
dad
probably
loved it.
I probably wouldn't change my voice much. I feel like people that are doing full voice changes have a different skill set than someone that's just being a character. And I feel like there's always some degree of not always. Oftentimes, I feel like people that do that kind of thing don't feel authentic. Where if you heard, you know, I forget her name, whoever played Ellie in Last of Us, her voice is her
Oh.
voice.
Ashley Johnson.
Yeah, thank you, Ashley Johnson.
Yeah.
She just used her voice. She did not change her voice like at all, and it fit the character really well. And it went in, and she didn't change her voice at all. Same as the girl that did oh my god, I'm losing it. Like the various Final Fantasy 13 or
Aerith?
Final Fantasy 7. Yeah, Aerith. There we go. I was like Aerith. I'm like that's not right. The Final Fantasy 7 character. Her voice is the exact same voice. She does a few voice she gave like a little bit of coaching, but she didn't completely change her voice. And most of the characters in that did not change their voice. The voice is the voice. So like I think that that's a little more authentic, and that's all I would do. I would not try to act and change my voice much because I just think it, for me at least in authenticity. So
I live on the other side. I think
that's fine.
I think the
And you
people
might
that
like
change
that.
their voices and are able to do multiple characters, like think about Mark Hamill, like
okay.
Billy West.
all the different voices. Yeah, Adam West.
Or if you take someone like Norman
Clint
Reedus.
Billy West, sorry.
I was going to say, if you take someone like Norman Reedus, though, he always sounds the same in every single thing he does.
Or even Patrick Warburton. He always
Yep.
what fucking H. John Benjamin.
Yep.
Like he just has such a distinctive voice. It's like
Yeah,
Archer,
you know.
Bob, Coach McGurk. It's all the same voice, you know?
I mean, and that's perfectly valid as well. So I think there's a valid approach on either side of that. Just to shout out our friend Alex again, she is now, I think, up for joining a voice actors guild or something like that, from what I saw on Facebook. But I listened to like some of the voice reels that she's put out for some of the games that she's done voice acting in, and you listen to it, and I don't think it lacks any authenticity, but does not sound like herself in many of the roles that she plays. And I always think that's a very high kind of compliment to say to someone is you manage to transform, your voice into a different character, which just impressive. I hats off to her. I hope she keeps moving onwards and upwards with that. But yeah, totally agree. I would love to do something like that myself. I like messing around with my voice. I like hearing myself talk, if you can't tell.
Madden Minute, Tom rambles. Get
The
good,
Madden
scrub.
Minute. I guess anytime football season's going on, Tom, especially like January, February with the playoffs, there should be the Tom's Madden Minute, where you just talk about what you're doing and how broken you've made Madden this time.
I went through it pretty quick this time. I thought it went pretty quick.
You did well.
All right, I think we've beaten the career horse to death. Unless one of you are like, I have something to say.
Companies, hire us.
We'll design your game.
We don't have other jobs or careers that are going on. Anyway, for our listeners, thanks so much again for listening through the podcast. If you listened this far, that is incredible. Really appreciate it. We have all of our various social medias, our YouTube channels and stuff at joypadpod.com. Yes? Yeah.
You got
Okay.
it.
I was like, is there pod at the end of this? But joypadpod.com has a link tree with all of our various links to social medias that you can follow. I don't know who posts there in any of them, but go check them out and you'll find something. And if you don't, tag us and be like, where are you guys? I miss you.
Our ghost friend Spagurk does all the posting.
Yes. So check that out. And yeah, I guess I'm not missing anything if I just link our website.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
All the
So,
socials are there.
yeah, everything's
simple.
there. Go check it out there. You'll find Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and a few other things, and emails and such. All right, Tom, do you wanna lead us out with some career advice?
Oh
No, wait.
no.
Oh, wait. This
No
might
more
be a bad
career
idea.
advice.
Go ahead, Tom.
I don't know what bad career advice you're expecting from me. I was just gonna say like, I don't know.
Give up on your dreams. Join corporate America.
Oh. Well, you
Don't
heard
do
Pinto.
it.
Just do that. Try and stay joyful. But hey, corporate. No. Listen. If you're passionate about something, pursue that dream. Work as hard as you can on it. Find a way to make some great art. Share it with us at the JoyPad podcast. We'll be happy to shout you out. And always with that, stay joyful. Or give up on your dreams and hate yourself and join corporate America like I did. Gives you money. Bye.
Yay.
Goodbye.
Bye.